Hello there, hello there. Look at this one. Right, well, it's another stunning day in Avalon, and we are going out for a little spin on the bike. We're going to descend this extremely treacherous zigzag type thing. Look at this. Ha ha! And I've been cooped up inside for about 3 days now. We've got a garden, so I have been out in the sun, but it's time to actually go out and do some legitimate exercise. Chute des Pierres. So this is the River Cousin. About 5k down this road, there's another town called Pont-Aubert. I'm not quite going to go that far. I'm going to turn off and cross the river over a little footbridge and get up into these woods over here somewhere. And then I've got a little route on the GPS. You know, in typical My Frequency style, we're going to get horribly lost and hopefully find our way back into town via another road. You know, for those of us who are sky watchers of one kind or another anyway, you'll notice that funny things happen sometimes when there's a lot of planes up in the sky, but when there's no planes in the sky at all, we just get blue skies. You know, kind of thing we used to remember from your childhood. My childhood was in the 90s and I remember blue skies. And thanks to coronavirus grounding pretty much every commercial flight, blue skies have returned. Right, is this? Indeed it is. Not a bad spot, eh? This place is amazing. Of course, I'm traveling a lot lighter now, so dealing with this kind of stuff is a doddle compared to how it was with all the camping gear on board. So yeah, this is all new for me. I haven't been this way yet, but I think it's going to be like this until we turn away from the river. That's going to be very shortly. I'm very much reminded when I find myself in a place like this of why I was a little over 2 years ago now seduced by the notion of living off-grid without permission in the middle of a random section of woodland. When you come out here, there's no man-made rules, there's no man-made systems. Okay, with the exception of this trail I'm riding on. What I mean is, if you asked someone who believed in the idea of La République de France, which is a completely imaginary concept. It exists only on paper and in the minds of those who believe in it. And most of the people who do believe in that concept, that legal fictional entity, associate it with the land, the portion of the Earth's surface which is known as France. They would tell you that this place I am right now is part of that jurisdiction, call it what you will, and here I'm subject to its laws, its rules and regulations. But I would tell you that the only place that La République de France exists, other than in the minds of the people who believe in it, are the locations that its agents, that its operatives are able to physically police. And I don't see any police here. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? If I commit a victimless crime and there's no one there, obviously there's no victim of that crime, but there's also no one there to witness me commit that victimless crime, have I really committed a crime? And I think the simplest way that it can be expressed is, well, they use the word offence quite a lot in courtrooms. You've committed an offence. Yeah, so who have I offended? An offence isn't a crime. A statute regulation isn't a law. But anyway, I'm just rambling. That's just the kind of thinking that led me to want to live in the middle of a wood and start writing letters instead of filling out the yearly tax return. Start writing letters and asking questions. I've just seen the first proper left turn and I'm taking it. You'd be forgiven for thinking this looks like hard work, but compared to pushing the same bike up here with a tent and all your camping gear on, well, carrying it up steep sections is a lot easier. Okie doke. So this is a pretty major fire road. Nothing on the map for it. It's headed vaguely where I want to go. So I've rolled the dice and I've done all right. We're going to follow this road. Right, I've just taken a break here because I want to show you guys something. So this, attestation de déplacement dérogatoire. A déplacement is basically being out of your place of residence. I don't know if they make homeless people carry these. Obviously this isn't the official version, this is, well, this is handmade. I had to write this on a bit of notepaper because we don't have a printer at home, so I can't download the government PDF and print it out. So I've got this one, and basically what it is a self-incriminating document where you agree to be bound by certain emergency measures for, you know, an unspecified time period. I haven't copied the whole thing down, I've copied down just the parts that I consent to. So crucially I missed out things like I will only travel within a 1 kilometre radius of where I live, because I'm probably about 4 or 5 kilometres from where I live now. An hour as well, you have to, if you take the whole document and sign it, you're agreeing to only be out for an hour. So you're effectively criminalising yourself for being further than 1 kilometre distant from where you live. I think we have to walk more than 1k to get to the supermarket. And when we go, Julie and I, we take these little handwritten documents. So we're criminalising ourselves. So yeah, I've got this thing anyway, just in case I do get stopped on the road. It's going to be better than not having it. So I'm not doing this to be difficult. I'm doing this because it's the truth. Okay, and truth is more important to me in a situation like this than anything else. Anything but the truth is a lie. I'm doing my best to be truthful on this channel. I'm doing my best to be truthful with the people who watch this channel, whether they're strangers who've just found me randomly or they're people who know me from the past and they want to find out what I'm up to nowadays. But and I'm being honest with myself, I've got to be truthful. So there is nothing on this piece of paper that is fraudulent or deceptive. I am making like an educated decision and a heart-led decision, as much as anything, that it's acceptable for me to do this. You know, we've got to be sensible and we've got to be realistic. And, you know, one of these things about asking these big questions about law and legality and authority and where does it come from, you take a lot more responsibility for yourself and for your own actions. When we just consent to and comply with the system like the one we've got in place, with things like this, yes, I do concede that there is a time and a place for this kind of thing, but you've got to be very careful. If you're thinking the way I am, if you've seen and evidence to yourself the things that I have seen and evidence to myself, you are able to go beyond the responsibilities, let's say, of someone who has not considered these things and taken these things on board, okay? So I do take this stuff very seriously. Everything I do is public, right? When I went to live in the woods back in the UK, I was doing so, technically it was illegally, but I don't consent to be governed by the people who make these regulations, these rules and regulations that I was breaking. But I made the whole thing public. I put it on a publicly viewable platform, YouTube, you know, everything was out there in the public domain. And again, I'm breaking a regulation here, but it's all being done publicly, and I haven't signed anything that's going to incriminate me. I've signed this. All that remains to be said, take care during these crazy coronavirus times, and more than anything, just try to keep your sanity. And probably a good start for that is avoiding the mainstream media.